In 1911, an ordinary Italian man named Vincenzo Peruggia made history by pulling off one of the most audacious art heists ever. This was no ordinary theft. He didn't just steal any painting. Peruggia snuck away with the most famous piece of art in the world, the Mona Lisa from the Louvre Museum in Paris, and he managed to keep it hidden for 2 years. Vincenzo Peruggia, born in Dumenza, Italy in 1881, moved to Paris in 1908, hoping to find work. By 1910, he had a job as a handyman at the Louvre, a museum where he became fascinated with one particular painting, the Mona Lisa. At the time, the Mona Lisa wasn't the global icon it is today, but it was still one of the most prized paintings in the museum's collection. Peruggia, however, wasn't just drawn to the art itself. He was consumed by the belief that the painting rightfully belonged in Italy, not France. He thought it had been wrongfully taken by Napoleon during his conquest of Italy and should be returned to its homeland. On August 21, 1911, Peruggia decided to act. He knew the museum would be less crowded on Mondays, so he planned his heist for that day. The night before, he hid inside the Louvre, using his knowledge of the museum's layout to stay out of sight. The next morning, after the museum had closed to the public, he made his move. Disguised as a worker, Peruggia waited until the staff was distracted. He then grabbed the Mona Lisa, slipped it under his clothes, and simply walked out of the museum, carrying it hidden under his arm. With no one suspecting him, he wheeled a trunk with the painting inside through the museum's back corridors and out into the streets of Paris. It seemed like a routine day for the thief, who had outsmarted one of the world's most secure institutions. For the next 2 years, the Mona Lisa was completely missing. Peruggia kept it hidden in his apartment behind a false wall, never revealing the location to anyone. Meanwhile, the world was in an uproar over the missing masterpiece. The Louvre was offering a reward for its safe return, and newspapers were filled with stories about the painting's disappearance. But despite the international search, there were no clues. Then, in 1913, Peruggia decided to try and sell the Mona Lisa. He traveled to Florence, hoping to find a buyer, and tried to sell the painting to 2 prominent art dealers, Antonio and Sardi. The dealers, however, were immediately suspicious. This was the Mona Lisa, and it had been missing for 2 years. To verify the painting's authenticity, they contacted Giovanni Poggi, the director of the Uffizi Gallery. When Poggi saw the painting, he instantly recognized it. The police were called, and Peruggia was arrested. Though he had committed a crime, some in Italy celebrated Peruggia, seeing him as a patriot who had stolen the painting for the good of his country. But for most, he was a thief who had taken one of the world's most priceless treasures. Peruggia was tried and sentenced to 1 year in prison, but his crime had already left its mark. The Mona Lisa was returned to the Louvre, where it became even more famous. Peruggia, in the end, became a footnote in art history. After his release, he returned to Italy, where he lived the rest of his life in relative obscurity, rarely speaking of the heist again. And though Peruggia's intentions were rooted in nationalism, his actions forever changed the legacy of the Mona Lisa, transforming it from a renowned work of art into a global symbol of mystery and intrigue. The Mona Lisa's theft only added to its allure, and today it remains one of the most famous and visited paintings in the world, a testament to a man who tried to return it to Italy and to the incredible story of its disappearance and eventual return.